The US auto industry has just been hit with the biggest shockwave of the decade, and it comes straight from Toyota. What looked like a quiet year-end sales push has now exploded into a full-blown market collapse as dealerships slash prices by numbers nobody believed were even possible. We're talking up to 73% off on brand new Toyota models. Yes, brand new, untouched, zero-mile cars that dealers were terrified to keep on their lots for even one more week. The discounts are so extreme that industry experts are calling it the beginning of an automotive reset, and competitors are scrambling to figure out how Toyota pulled this move off. Across the country, customers are rushing to dealerships in scenes that look like Black Friday chaos, with lines forming before sunrise and cars being sold faster than sales teams can process paperwork. Toyota's massive inventory buildup, slowing demand, and skyrocketing floor plan financing costs have pushed dealers into panic mode, forcing them to dump stock at record-breaking losses. Models like the Camry, Corolla, RAV4, and even the Tacoma are being marked down to prices we haven't seen in over a decade. Some dealerships have even removed traditional price stickers entirely and replaced them with giant make an offer banners to move units before month's end. This kind of discounting doesn't just affect Toyota, it sends shockwaves through the entire industry. Ford, Honda, Hyundai, GM, and Nissan are now facing unprecedented pressure as Toyota's fire sale pricing becomes the new benchmark. Consumers are realizing they no longer have to settle for used cars or overpriced financing. For the first time in years, new car buyers are holding the power, and it is flipping the market upside down. Analysts say we could be entering an era where new vehicle prices dramatically fall, automakers slash production, and leasing companies scramble to adjust residual values that are suddenly outdated. Even more shocking is what's happening behind the scenes. Some Toyota dealers are anonymously reporting that they were given an unofficial green light to clear all excess 2024 inventory at any cost, even if it means losing thousands per car. This push appears to be tied to Toyota's aggressive goal of resetting national inventory levels before the launch of several major 2025 and 2026 models. That means these insane discounts could continue longer than anyone expected, and the ripple effects could break the pricing structure that automakers have relied on for years. Meanwhile, used car dealers are panicking. When brand new Toyotas are cheaper than 3-year-old models sitting on independent lots, customers abandon the used market entirely. Wholesale auctions are already seeing values plunge as dealers attempt to dump used inventory before losses get worse. Some experts warn that a used car value crash could be right around the corner. One even compared it to a mini housing crisis for car dealers. But the most unbelievable part, these discounts aren't limited to slow-selling trims. High-demand models like the Highlander, 4Runner, and even hybrid versions are appearing with price cuts nobody would have dared to imagine 3 months ago. Some customers report walking in expecting a small incentive and walking out with deals they thought were scams, until the paperwork printed. And here's where things get even more intense. Financing. With interest rates still high, Toyota dealers are now offering ultra-low APR deals, big cashback incentives, and even stacked discounts that combine factory rebates with dealer markdowns. This is something the industry usually avoids because it destroys profit margins. But Toyota seems fully committed to clearing the board before the next product wave hits. I'm going to dive even deeper into how this happened, which models are getting the biggest discounts, and why analysts say this could mark the collapse of the inflated car price era we've been stuck in for years. Stay with me because what's coming next might be the biggest shift the automotive world has seen since 2008. And here's where the story takes a stunning turn, because Toyota's massive discounts are exposing a hidden crisis inside the auto industry that companies hoped customers would never notice. For months, automakers have quietly struggled with bloated inventories, rising production costs, and slowing consumer demand. But Toyota's aggressive price slashing has ripped the lid off the problem, forcing the entire industry to confront what insiders call the Great Car Bubble. Now that bubble is bursting in real time. Dealership insiders are admitting that they've been sitting on rows of unsold cars for far too long. Some lots are so overpacked that employees can barely navigate between vehicles, and managers are being pressured by automakers to take even more shipments they don't want. When Toyota dealers started warning headquarters they were running out of space, the response wasn't slow production. It was sell faster, lower prices, clear the lot. And that pressure cooker has exploded into this historic discount wave. wave. Customers, meanwhile, are walking into dealerships with a level of confidence that hasn't been seen in decades. Instead of being pressured into overpriced deals, buyers are negotiating from a position of strength, and dealers are giving in almost instantly. Some salespeople say that as long as customers are serious, they're being told to accept any reasonable offer just to move units. One salesperson even said that management instructed them to avoid losing a sale under any circumstances. Even if it meant selling at a loss, that would have been unthinkable last year. But the panic doesn't stop there. Inside Toyota's regional networks, there are whispers that the company is bracing for a more dramatic industry contraction in 2025. With electric vehicle demand cooling, hybrid demand skyrocketing, and interest rates crushing monthly payments, automakers aren't sure what the next 12 months will look like. Some analysts believe Toyota's price cuts are actually a strategic move to control the narrative. By forcing competitors to drop prices first, Toyota can claim leadership in affordable mobility, while other brands struggle to catch up. Meanwhile, financial institutions are watching the chaos with growing alarm. Banks that heavily financed high-priced vehicles over the past 2 years are now staring at a dangerous possibility. Rapid depreciation could leave millions of Americans upside down on their car loans. If new cars drop far below what people paid in 2022 and 2023, defaults could rise sharply, creating a domino effect that impacts lenders, automakers, and the entire resale market. And the most surprising fallout? Fleet buyers, rental companies, government agencies, and large corporations are jumping back into the market with huge orders. They're taking advantage of the rare moment when buying brand new vehicles is cheaper than holding on to older, high-mileage ones. This sudden surge in fleet demand is only adding more pressure to dealerships that are already struggling to keep up with retail customers pouring through the doors. But the real question hanging over the industry right now is simple. How long can this last? Toyota's discounts are rewriting the rules in real time, but they also raise a dangerous possibility. If customers get used to 50%, 60%, or even 70% off MSRP, will anyone ever pay full price again? Dealers fear the answer is no, and that fear is spreading fast. What comes next may reshape the future of the car market forever, because the deeper we dig, the clearer it becomes that Toyota's historic price cuts aren't just a temporary promotion. They are the first tremors of a much larger earthquake shaking the entire automotive world. I'll continue breaking down the models, seeing the steepest price collapse, the regions with the most aggressive deals, and the insider memos that reveal Toyota's real plan behind this massive move. And this is exactly where the story gets even more explosive, because the models receiving the steepest price collapses aren't the old unwanted base trims. They include some of Toyota's most in-demand, high-traffic vehicles that dealerships never expected to discount. The RAV4 Hybrid, which has held one of the strongest resale values in the country for years, is suddenly appearing with markdowns so large that customers are calling them too good to be real. The Camry SE, long known as a bulletproof bestseller, is being pushed out the door with stacking rebates and dealer cash that bring prices down to numbers not seen since the early 2010s. And the Tacoma, yes, the legendary, almost never discounted Tacoma, is showing up on online dealership listings thousands below invoice. These aren't isolated cases either. Some dealerships in the Midwest and Southwest are showing 2024 inventory sitting long enough that Toyota quietly issued behind-the-scenes incentives, essentially bonus cash that dealers don't have to advertise publicly. That hidden money lets them slash prices without technically breaking MSRP guidelines. And when those incentives combine with desperate dealer markdowns, the results are unbelievable. Certain trims are realistically hitting that 70% plus off threshold when you add up every single discount. But what's even more shocking is how fast the market is reacting to Toyota's sudden collapse strategy. Honda dealers are already holding emergency calls, trying to decide whether to slash prices on Civic and CR-V models before customers start abandoning their lots entirely. Ford dealers, watching their F-150 and Explorer inventories pile up, are reportedly waiting for corporate approval to launch massive clearance events of their own. This isn't a small ripple, it's a tidal wave, and Toyota is right at the center of it, dragging the rest of the industry with them. Meanwhile, customers who bought vehicles earlier this year, or even just a few months ago, are furious. The social media floodgates have opened, with buyers posting about paying $35,000, $40,000, even $50,000 for vehicles now being advertised for half that amount. One customer said, "I thought I got a deal. Now I realize I overpaid by $18,000. Another posted that the dealership they bought from in June is now offering the same model for nearly 60% less, calling it the most painful financial punch of my life. These reactions aren't just emotional, they have legal and financial consequences. Several law firms are now exploring whether customers might have grounds to challenge deceptive pricing, or whether dealers could face lawsuits for misrepresenting limited-time deals that suddenly became permanent. While experts don't expect large-scale refunds, the complaints alone are adding more heat to an already overheated market. But here's the hidden angle almost nobody is talking about. Toyota's massive discounts might be signaling a bigger shift toward dumping combustion inventory before their next wave of hybrids and new tech hits the market. Rumors are flying that Toyota wants to clear as much ICE stock as possible to make room for updated hybrid powertrains and next-generation EV platforms. If that's true, these discounts aren't just a reaction to slow sales. They're part of a long-term restructuring plan that Toyota has kept tightly under wraps. And behind closed doors, executives from multiple automakers are reportedly terrified that Toyota's move could normalize fire sale pricing, because once customers expect deals this massive, the entire profit structure of the industry collapses. No brand, not even Toyota, can sustain multi-year losses on new vehicles. But for now, dealers have no choice. The inventory is here, the storage lots are full, the financing costs keep rising, and every week cars sit unsold, the losses grow larger. What happens next could decide the future of new car pricing in America, and the deeper I look into this situation, the clearer it becomes. Toyota didn't just start a sale, they started a market reset that nobody was prepared to handle. I'll continue uncovering what insiders say is coming next, the financial warning signs that analysts are panicking over, and the regions where discounts are expected to explode even further. And now we move into the most unsettling part of this entire situation, because industry insiders are warning that what's happening right now with Toyota could trigger a nationwide price freefall that automakers simply cannot stop. In several regions, dealers are quietly preparing for what they're calling a December avalanche, where unsold vehicles must be cleared under any conditions or risk financially crushing the dealership. One Toyota manager said off the record, "If we don't empty this lot before the new shipments arrive, half the stores in this district won't survive the winter." That's how serious this has become. You see, every dealership in America operates under the same brutal pressure. Floor plan interest. The longer vehicles sit unsold, the more dealers owe lenders in monthly interest just for having those cars sitting on the asphalt. With interest rates still high, some dealers are paying tens of thousands of dollars every month just to hold inventory they can't move. But now, thanks to Toyota's aggressive clearance push, those dealers have realized something terrifying. If they don't match the price drops happening nationwide, they will be left with inventory nobody will buy. This is why we're beginning to see a phenomenon experts call price contagion. It starts when one dealership slashes prices to survive, then neighboring dealerships copy the move, then other brands follow, and soon the entire region is caught in a downward spiral. Toyota's massive discount shock just accelerated this process across the country. Within hours of these deals going viral, online car shopping platforms reported huge traffic spikes, with customers filtering their searches by lowest price and instantly skipping every model that isn't showing deep discounts. When consumers start shopping this way, the old pricing system collapses, and that's exactly what's happening right now. But Toyota's role in this goes beyond just cutting prices. There's a strategic layer that analysts are now piecing together, and it paints a very different picture of what's happening behind the curtain. Toyota hasn't been losing sales, they've been quietly preparing for a massive product transition. New hybrids, new powertrains, new crossovers, new compact models, and entirely new manufacturing strategies are all set to roll out in the next 18 to 24 months. To make room for this shift, Toyota needs its 2024 inventory gone, not reduced, not discounted, gone, completely cleared. And that urgency is spreading to their competitors. Ford dealers, already drowning in unsold F-150s and Escapes, are in full alarm mode. Honda dealers are seeing CR-V and Accord inventory stagnate. Nissan dealers are sitting on months-old Rogue models that just aren't moving. The difference? Toyota moved first, and now everyone else is scrambling to respond before customers decide the only smart purchase is a discounted Toyota. And here's the part that's making industry economists extremely nervous. Used car values are collapsing even faster than expected. Auction prices have dropped in a way some analysts compare to falling off a cliff. Cars that were worth $25,000 last year are now being valued at $18,000 or less. Rental companies, which rely heavily on used car resale, are suddenly facing huge losses, and independent used car dealerships, already on thin margins, are staring down what could be a catastrophic winter. One economist summed it up bluntly: if Toyota continues this level of discounting into January, we could see the largest value correction in the automotive market since 2008. But the most important question remains: how much deeper will these discounts go? And how far is Toyota willing to push this pricing collapse to achieve its long-term goals? I'm going to continue from here and reveal the internal forecasts circulating inside dealership groups, the whispers about upcoming Toyota incentives that haven't been announced yet, and the models expected to hit their lowest prices in the next few weeks. And now we're getting into the information Toyota absolutely does not want leaking to the public, because the internal forecasts circulating among dealership groups paint a far more dramatic picture than anything being officially acknowledged. According to several insiders, Toyota's regional managers have quietly hinted that the current discounts are only the first phase of a multi-stage price correction that could extend well into early 2025. That means the massive price drops we're seeing right now might not even be the deepest cuts. Some insiders claim that if inventory levels don't fall fast enough, Toyota could unleash a second wave of incentives in January that will send shockwaves through every dealership in America. These internal forecasts are broken down by model, region, and inventory age, and what they show is stunning. Certain regions, especially the South, Midwest, and Mountain states, are sitting on some of the heaviest buildups of 2024 stock in the entire country. These regions are expected to see the biggest price collapses because dealers simply have no choice. They have overstretched floor plan financing, incoming 2025 shipments they cannot delay, and a shrinking pool of customers who are all demanding the same thing: extreme discounts. One document circulating among dealer principals reportedly warns failure to reduce aged inventory by 40% before February could result in extended financial losses not recoverable in Q1. That is a rare, blunt message. Toyota is basically telling dealers, clear your lots now or pay the price later. And this pressure is pushing dealerships into uncharted territory, selling brand new cars for less than some used models and aggressively undercutting each other in what's quickly turning into an all-out price war. But here's where the story twists again. Several dealerships are reporting that Toyota is considering short-term retail bonus payouts, where dealers earn additional cash directly from the manufacturer for each unit sold, regardless of profit. If this becomes official, it will fuel even deeper discounts because dealers won't care about losing money on the front end. They'll be chasing volume bonuses to stay afloat. And that kind of incentive, if rolled out nationwide, could push prices into territory the industry has never seen before. At the same time, automakers like Ford, GM, Hyundai, and Honda are in panic mode. Behind closed doors, executives are debating whether to respond aggressively or wait it out. But waiting could be suicidal, because once customers see a brand new Toyota at 50-70% off, they will not walk into another brand's dealership willing to pay full price. Consumer psychology has officially shifted, and once that shift happens, the old price structure collapses permanently. The ripple effects aren't limited to dealerships. Banks and lenders are scrambling to rewrite their residual value forecasts. Leasing companies rely on predicting how much a car will be worth 3 years from now, but these sudden discounts have obliterated those predictions. Some leasing firms are already adjusting residuals downward, which means leasing could become more expensive than buying for the first time in years. Meanwhile, analysts warned that tens of thousands of Americans who purchased Toyotas earlier this year could soon be underwater on their loans as their vehicles lose value faster than anyone thought possible. Negative equity is about to explode across the country, and lenders know it. But the biggest question, the question keeping automakers awake at night, is what happens when Toyota launches its next round of 2025 and 2026 models. Because if they enter that new cycle with a reputation for aggressive pricing and consumer-first deals, the entire industry will be forced to follow or risk bleeding customers. This is only the beginning of the transformation happening right now, and the next phase will be even more disruptive. I'm going to continue from here and break down which specific Toyota models are forecasted to hit their lowest prices yet, the regions where insiders expect discounts to spike the hardest, and the early warning signs that a full-blown nationwide price correction is accelerating. And now we shift into the part of the story that will matter most to buyers watching this market unravel in real time, because insiders have identified the exact Toyota models expected to hit rock bottom pricing next, and the numbers being discussed privately are even more shocking than what's already happening on dealership lots. According to leaked internal inventory aging reports, 3 specific models are on the verge of what analysts are calling forced liquidation pricing. These are the vehicles Toyota dealers are most desperate to move before the next inventory inventory cycle hits. First is the 2024 Toyota Corolla, especially the LE and SE trims. This model has built up quietly but massively across the country, with some regions sitting on 4 to 6 months of unsold stock. Insiders say this is the model most likely to hit the deepest discounts, potentially going below what used car dealers paid at wholesale earlier in the year. Some dealers are whispering numbers so low they don't even know how to advertise them without causing chaos. Next is the 2024 Toyota RAV4, particularly the non-hybrid trims. Even though the RAV4 is one of Toyota's best-selling crossovers, supply has ballooned. Some regions received more inventory than they could move, and now those units are weighing down dealer finances. The internal forecast suggests that RAV4 prices could enter what's being described as historic territory, meaning discounts big enough to temporarily collapse the compact SUV segment and force rivals to respond instantly. And the biggest shocker, the 2024 Toyota Tacoma SR and SR5. For years, the Tacoma has been nearly immune to heavy discounting, but suddenly dealerships are overloaded with outgoing generation Tacomas because the redesigned 2024s and 2025s are flooding in. This is pushing older models into massive price slashing, something the industry has never seen on this scale. Insiders believe that once the final wave of new Tacomas arrives, older models could drop so low that used truck values fall with them, triggering a broader truck market correction.